I do not believe in gender equality. I believe in gender abolition. The abolition of oppressive and unequal social standards and expectations that are assigned based on sex. Some people may wish to know how gender is to be abolished. The process is a complex one, with many components. Gender abolition encompasses social, cultural, legal, and political dimensions. Gender abolition will take many decades at best, and quite possibly centuries. I do not expect to see a post-gender society in my lifetime. Gender abolition is a noble, rational goal, and we can get a lot closer to gender abolition than we currently are. In many regards, gender abolition is a matter of slowly undermining and corroding gender expectations and weakening assignment rigidity. This is already happening to a great extent with the help of people who don't even know what gender abolition is. The weakening of the social standards and expectations that define gender is one of the primary steps towards gender abolition. Such a social and cultural change will be slow, but it can occur. The weakening of social expectations will largely occur on a very personal level. In many ways, it is simply a matter of viewing people as individuals and gradually discarding gender expectations and standards in your interactions with them. View them less as actors filling out a gender role, and view them more as individuals. View them less as genders and more as people. This doesn't just go for others either, it goes for yourself. View yourself not as an actor filling out a gender role. View yourself as a unique individual who can go beyond the gender mold. Gender abolition is primarily a social and cultural pursuit based around the weakening and undermining of gender expectations and standards. This is something which we can contribute to each and every day. Legal changes will also need to occur. One obvious thing is the abolition of gender-segregated schooling. Such institutions can be abolished either culturally or by the state. The state is probably a more realistic option. Institutions like gender-segregated schools only reaffirm and strengthen gender as a social force. If gender is to be abolished, they need to be abolished first. Another key change is a move away from raising children to fit gender molds. Society must stop fixating on gendered colours and types of toys. Society must stop fixating on gendered behavioural expectations and presentational standards. We must allow children to move beyond conventional gender norms. We must choose liberty rather than forcing people to live their lives as actors playing out a gendered role. The indoctrination of children with ideas of gender is one of the foundations upon which gender rests as a social force. Gender is founded on the indoctrination of the young. A cultural and social move away from indoctrination will lead to gender growing weaker and weaker until it can be discarded entirely. Gender abolition is a gradual process. I do not expect everyone to identify as non-binary tomorrow. Such a momentous social and cultural change must be gradual. This is not, however, an excuse to do nothing. It is also not an excuse to think that you can't abandon gender entirely. You can, and if you think you're up to it, then good on you. Gender abolition does come with some challenges. Not as many modern radical abolitionist movements, because gender does not exist as a solution to problems in the same way that police, prisons, law, and money do. This means that there is considerably less pressure to reinvent an alternative solution. things get somewhat difficult when it comes to gender-segregated prisons and restrooms. Regardless, I think new methods of categorization can be drawn up so these things can be managed in ways that will keep people safe. Such new categorizations would need to be given immense consideration, but there is little doubt that a new form of categorization that is just as effective, if not more effective, for keeping people safe could be created and adopted. A new categorization that doesn't come with all the issues associated with gender. It is worth remembering that gender is not the solution to rape culture. A large part of rape culture is born out of gender. In particular, the masculine expectations of dominance and strength paired with the expectation of hyper-heterosexuality. Such expectations very easily lead to rape, and a lot of it. The process of gender abolition is gradual, and philosophically and sociologically complex. It should be given plenty of consideration. The desirability of that process is immense. It is just a matter of effective abolition. So long as we are cautious and engage in due consideration, we have little to lose, and a whole lot of liberty to gain. And so the march towards a post-gender society begins.